Welcome to the 14th Annual Christmas Parade, hosted by the Merchants Association of Ship Bottom, TKR Cable TV, Times Beacon Newspapers, and the Ocean National Bank. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. We're certainly happy to be here today. My name is Don Myers, one of your co-hosts. Jean DePaula is next to me. She's the other co-host. Jean has recently been elected as councilwoman to the Stafford Township, and she's also the executive director of the Southern Ocean Chamber of Commerce. And welcome, Jean.
Welcome, Donnie. Thank you, and Merry Christmas to everybody. We have a beautiful day today. A little bit windy, but nice sunny day. And do you know, Don, that it's never rained on a Christmas parade day in Ship Bottom?
That should be the name of a song. And yes, we're fortunate. We've never had to postpone the parade due to inclement weather. Unfortunately, today is quite windy, and we hope that doesn't interfere with the floats and the parade participants. We do have a fairly large crowd this year. I imagine another 4 or 5 minutes we'll have a lot more people show up. The cars are lined up, and I notice everyone's bundled up inside because of the wind chill. But we're going to have an exciting afternoon, a great presentation, and I myself get excited this year. It's just something to look forward to, and I can't say enough about the volunteers, the participants, and the whole Long Beach Island, Southern Ocean County community and the way they come out and support the activities here on Long Beach Island and the mainland. Jean, what can you add to that?
Donnie, it's very difficult for me to be able to add anything to what you've just said. But I know that this year we have a lot of business participation in the floats. We have, I believe, 7 or 8 commercial floats,
Correct,
as well as a lot of homemade floats from businesses and a lot of individual businesses that are marching without floats. The Chamber of Commerce is always happy to participate in this parade.
Wonderful. And I have this moment. I'd like to thank Austin Bechtold, who was our co-host for the last X number of years, over 10 years, and he's not able to continue anymore, but I really want to welcome Jean DePaula on board, and I know she's going to do a great job, and it's add her bright, cheery personality to the commentation of this parade. What I'd like to do now is call over Mayor Bob Nissen, who's been involved with the parade since the conception 14 years ago, and we can't say enough about Mayor Nissen. He was out here an hour ago helping to set up the scaffolding with the rest of the Ship Bottom workers, and he really is a key part of this parade. Mayor?
Thank you, Don. I want to welcome everybody here to view this parade this year again, and fortunately the weather is in our favor again. A little windy, but not bad at all considering what it could be. And the crowd is gathering, and it looks like it's going to be a wonderful parade.
Super. Santa Claus is expected momentarily, and how's he going to arrive this year? Is it the same as before with the Ship Bottom Volunteer Fire Department truck?
Yes, indeed. He'll be here shortly, and he'll be riding their 1937 antique fire engine. And he'll come out and greet the crowd, and then he'll hustle to the parade and be at the tail end and to welcome everybody.
Wonderful. I just want to remind everyone also that this year, I know once the viewing has taken place, Jean DePaula is trying to show off the Christmas parade sweatshirt here. That's what she's doing.
And the theme of the parade this year?
The theme of the parade this year is Christmas is a sure thing. Sure spelled S-H-O-R-E. And even though you're going to watch this telecast after the parade, we want you to keep in mind that from now on we're going to have the Christmas Bazaar immediately after the parade from 1 to 4 at the Ship Bottom Elementary School, and all the proceeds go to help the funding of the parade itself. So it's certainly a worthwhile cause, and we hope to see everyone there in future years. Mayor, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I'll just have to hustle over and see if I can greet Santa Claus.
Okay.
All right.
See you in a few minutes.
We'll see you and Santa later.
The mayor's hustling off to pick up Santa Claus and make sure he's here on time. Obviously, he's pretty busy this time of year. And Jean and I are going to climb up to the podium and try and stay warm, and we're looking forward to this parade.
Oh, I'm really excited. This is the 5th Christmas parade that I've been here for, and I think each year they get better and better and better.
Well, I'm going to second that, and we're going to sign off on that, and we're going to go wait for Santa Claus to come pick up the mail for the kids so they could be delivered to the North Pole. like Santa Claus is arriving just on time as always every year. It's amazing with his busy schedule that he's able to be here right on the dot. And he's being transported again by the 1937 Ship Bottom Volunteer Fire Department truck. Santa, welcome. Welcome. Good to see you again this year.
Good to see you too.
Boy, you look the same. You haven't changed in all these years.
Thank you. You said the nicest things, Don.
What we like to do is have you come over here. We've got a lot of mail here that the kids have brought, and they are expecting you to take this back to the North Pole, read the letters, and get those toys in time
That's my
for Christmas.
Job. That's my job. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
You guys are doing a great job.
Kids have really done a lot of writing this year, so I know you'll take care of them the way you always do.
Ship Bottom always has a haul.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Remember, we deliver for you.
Thank you, Skip. Merry Christmas.
That was a play on words by Santa there. Mayor, you want to give an official welcome here to Santa?
I want to thank Santa Claus for arriving again in Ship Bottom for the 14th time, and we've got a nice crowd here for you to say hello to.
Thank you.
And we have Santa's weather here. You should be used to this living at the North Pole. Nice and chilly and windy for you.
Yeah, I don't know how you folks do this. You always have a sunny day for this parade.
Yeah, we're blessed. There's no doubt about it here in Long Beach Island. I tell you what, we like you to do, if you have a moment, maybe you can say hello to some of these children lined up here over on the parade route.
I sure will. And Mayor, if you'll take this,
I'll take this for you and carry it around.
let me make a couple of rounds.
There's Santa getting back on the 1937 Ship Bottom fire truck, posing a little bit for the photographers from the local newspapers. But he sure looks jolly again this year. Santa loves this weather. It's his time of year.
Bye-bye, Santa.
Santa's going to get in his place at the end of the parade. Well, we have this momentary lull before the start of the parade. What we like to do is get the judges introduced, if we may. See, our first judge is Commissioner Pete Murphy, recently elected to the Township of Long Beach, and he's in charge of the Department of Public Safety. We like to welcome Pete Murphy. We know he'll do an excellent job. And our next judge, to his left, is Steve Littleson, who's the president of the Southern Ocean County Hospital. Steve's very active in the community, and I know he was looking forward to judging today. And I'll let my co-host, Gene DePaula, introduce the next judge.
Sitting next to Steve on Steve's left is Joan Coons. Joan is the president of the Alliance for a Living Ocean. And the Alliance for a Living Ocean is one of those marvelous nonprofit organizations we have on Long Beach Island that raises funds for the environment. Next to Joan is June Morgan, who is the postmistress or postmaster in Ship Bottom, as well as the president of the Soroptimist. And next to June is Peter Sarar. Peter is president of the Firemen's Association here in Ship Bottom. He's a councilman in Ship Bottom, and he's also the accountant for the Chamber of Commerce, as well as a member of the board of directors for the Southern Ocean County Chamber, and a Rotarian as well. So Peter's certainly very, very busy. We want to thank all the judges for coming out today to help us judge this 14th annual Ship Bottom Merchants Parade.
I just want to add that Peter is also the past president of the Long Beach Island Rotary Club, and so we don't step on anybody's toes. He's the vice president this year of the Ship Bottom Volunteer Fire Company, and he will be president soon.
And then he can step on toes, right?
Well, I see as always, leading the parade coming down the highway. In front of us, we have the Ship Bottom Police and the chief's car for the Ship Bottom Fire Department and their emergency response team leading the way and to start off the parade as they've done for the last 14 years. Again, this is the 14th year of the Long Beach Island Christmas Parade.
Right behind the Ship Bottom Emergency Response Unit is the Southern Regional Golden Rams Marching Band.
We didn't get to close to 11.
The Southern Regional Band is directed by Doug Barber. I believe I see Mr. Murphy here, Mr. Poorman. And I believe I see a lot of kids from Southern that I recognize too. Southern Regional High School serves all of the communities on Long Beach Island, as well as Manahawkin, Barnegat, Waretown. And there were kids from all those different areas represented in the Southern Golden Rams Band.
As they come into view, let's just listen to their wonderful music. I'm sure they'll play for us in front of the judges' stand. All right, in your viewing screen right now is the New Jersey Abate. It's a motorcycle organization of all the bikers in the state of New Jersey that have gotten together to raise money for children. And I recently read in the newspaper that they donated over 50,000 toys to the Children's Hospital in Philadelphia. That is a tri-state Abate Association, but this is a New Jersey chapter, and they're always welcome to parade, and they do a fine job for the young tots. Jean, what do we have coming up in the view now?
Well, we have a float that's sponsored by Whalen's Furniture, Coastal Printing, the Haymarket Hobbies Toys, and on the parade we see a lot of little angels, And I think there are some boys on there too. A lot of toys for children.
And just to reiterate, this year the Christmas theme is Christmas is a sure thing. That is our theme this year. And we have the Kiwanis Association right there waving to us in the front of Long Beach Island. They're one of the service clubs here on Long Beach Island, and they do a tremendous job. They have breakfasts for the handicapped children, and they just do a fine job.
Behind the Kiwanis Club you've just seen passing the monitor is the Southern Regional Builders Club. This is a group of 7th and 8th grade students at the middle school who raise funds for worthwhile charity projects.
On your screen right now is the Lutheran Church, and their theme this year is Would You Let This Child Die of Hunger?
These 27 children that I don't see all 27 marching in the parade, but they've had 27 children from the church out collecting money at stores for the past month, and they have on the banner that you'll see coming into view on your monitor very shortly is all the people who have donated to this fund, and the money will go to help hungry children in Somalia. They've raised so far $4,000, and that's been collected by the children that have been marching here for the Trinity Lutheran Church.
We represent the 40 members of the Holy Trinity Lutheran Church Junior and Senior Youth Groups. We have helped raise $4,001 for world hunger, both at our church and in our community. Hundreds of people have contributed and sponsored us to walk in the parade today for world hunger. Their names are proudly displayed on our sponsor banners. We thank them all very much. Christmas is a time to give. God gave us His Son, the baby Jesus, at Christmas. We are giving to those babies throughout the world who have nothing to eat. Giving, isn't that what Christmas is all about?
That was very nicely said by young Molly McBride, and I think that sentiment echoes all of ours. And good job to the kids from the Lutheran Church located in Grant Beach, and that is the Luther Liner.
Merry Christmas.
We do have 8 categories where we have a moment here in the parade that do get awards. We have the commercial floats, the emergency companies, the rescue companies, the best adaptation of the parade theme, the homemade float division, nonprofit and business, family group with float, and a family or group without a float. Right in front of us we have Mike the Stone Man, as he's known, and his little Mini Cooper. He's in the parade every year. Sounds like the muffler's maybe been hit, Gene, by the wonderful weather in Long Beach Island. That salt air maybe affected the muffler.
Coming up behind the Stone Man in the minivan, we have some more antique cars. You know, Don, it really scares me that these cars are antiques. I remember these from when I was in high school.
Well, I'm glad you do. They're all new to me, Gene. That's a beautiful Mach 1 Mustang going by us. That's a beautiful Model T Ford right there with a rumble seat. And it's obviously a little too cold for the kids to be put in the back of the rumble seat. That's from Nelke Deniski Land Surveyors.
And we have the Toy Express coming up right behind the old-fashioned rumble seat car. The rumble seat on this is a sled, and it's filled with toys.
Here is what appears to be the first float addressing our parade theme this year. Christmas is a sure thing. we have all the little Santa's helpers going out fishing for gifts. This is the Charles Kennard carpentry float. It's a homemade float, and they've done a wonderful job with it. Everybody looks as though they're having a good time, and the kids, this is appropriate costume. They're fully dressed, and obviously here comes the truck.
The presents they fished for.
They fished for presents. Fishing's always good on Long Beach Island, right, Gene?
That's right. That's almost better than a striped bass.
Well, it depends who you talk to, but the presents do look like a good catch. And now we have the Beach Haven First Aid Squad. President of the Association is Skip Russell III. And we'd like to thank Captain Vivian Zapor, who's our dispatcher, and thank her for her dedication this past year, as always. This branch was founded in 1939, which is amazing, and they're very active on the island, and we'd have a hard time doing without this association. And next we have coming up, Gene.
We have a float that's been sponsored by 3 women's organizations on the island. The American Association of University Women, and their president Diane Gove is there. The Business and Professional Women of Southern Ocean County, and Chris Lynn, their president, is there. And the Seroptimist, and the director, Sharon Coos, is there. And I think we mentioned earlier that their president, June Morgan, is here as one of our judges today. Also on the float are Irene Pohl and Fran Puskas, members of the University Women's Group, and Mary Allen from the BPW, and Seroptimist members Kathy Knudsen and Eva Haynes.
Now on our screen we have the PRIF 4th grade class from the Ocean Township School System. Teachers Diana McKenzie, Mary Ellen Kloss, and Karen Niebler. They have 60 young children, and all these costumes were made in their class or created at home. And this is described as Christmas from Hook to Cape, highlighting the 8 shore towns celebrating Christmas in their own unique ways. I see Sandy Hook, Asbury Park,
Point Pleasant.
Seaside Heights. What else do we have, Gene?
Well, I see at the very end we have Long Beach Island. Following that, Atlantic City. You know, Don, I bet they're geographic from north to south. So this was a geography lesson as well as a parade.
That's super. These kids obviously put a lot of work into this, and I hope they keep themselves warm throughout the length of this parade. But they do look as though they're having a great time.
I like the dice for Atlantic City. That's really cute. Just coming up, we have the Grace Evangelical Church with Pastor Dennis Barger. This is a handmade and painted float, and the theme of the float is God is Lord of creation. The float shows Jesus on the shore saying to the fishermen, "Come unto me and I will make you fishers of men." Well, that's certainly a shore theme. Christmas is a shore thing here.
They've done a very nice job there. I think we may see quite a few boats in the parade this year because of our theme. In the background, you can hear the sounds of the St. Brennan pipes and drums. Bernard Snyder is a drum major. Every year they make the trip down here to Long Beach Island, and I just love the sound of these bagpipes. Let's just listen for a moment. what car do we have coming up after this?
Donnie, behind St. Brendan's, we have a 1950 blue Cadillac. It's owned by Bill Zimmerman and being driven by Bill and his mom. Bruce Zimmerman is the owner of Bruce Construction and would like to thank all of his customers for making 1992 his best year ever, and he wishes everyone
Wonderful.
a Merry Christmas.
I think Bruce Zimmerman.
Yes. Sorry, Bruce.
Bruce Zimmerman also has that fancy red pickup we see up and down the island. Right in front of us now we have a Buick Skylark, 1966, owned by Arthur Brubaker. It's a nice looking vehicle. In your screen now we have the 1938 Model A Ford. I think it's 1930 actually. It has 1938 on the paper. It's a 1930 Model A Ford black. The owner is Bill Molina-Knox, and he's a member of the Antique Auto Club of America from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Car's totally rebuilt.
Coming up behind, we have a family float by the Bob Klesitz family, and also with this group is Bill Servino and Lindsay Klesitz. All the costumes in the float are homemade. The float represents a large lobster cage carrying Little Lobster, and that 4-year-old lobster is little Lindsay, and she's inside the cage. She's being pulled by Bob, her dad, and the lobster diver is Bill Servino, who's her uncle.
That's a beautiful
That's
float.
a great looking float.
That's great. It's got its own chimney and a lobster pot. Right now we have a large float put together by the Beach Haven Auto, Mr. Movie, the Oscar Huber Furniture Store, and DeFiglio's Supermarket. It's a Candyland float. What's this noisy group right in front of us?
This noisy group is on their way to Florida. It's the Southern Regional Pop Warner Rams Junior Pee Wee football team. Their president of their organization is Dan Williams, and their coach is Cliff GM Brown. These guys are going to the national championship in Florida this week. They're leaving on Wednesday, and only a few days remain. They have about another $15,000 to raise in order to get there.
Yeah, they're only one of 2 teams in the country to reach this level of competition. So congratulations to Southern Warner Pop Warner football team. Right now we have Brownie Troop number 312. Barbara Ritchie and Carol Harper are in charge of these young ladies. We have 19 of them on the parade, and obviously their float is wonderful. It's a float with lighthouses, waves, girls dressed as the buoys. You know,
I thought they were boys.
That was buoys.
Buoys.
That's a wonderful idea.
Next, we have the Barnegat Light First Aid Squad. President Chris Schmidt is here, and Bob Van Meter, the captain. The vehicles here you see is the beach rescue vehicle and an ambulance. They'll be having breakfast with Santa December the 20th at the Barnegat Light First Aid Building, and they encourage everyone to join them for this lovely morning.
Coming up behind the First Aid Squad, we have Brownie Troop number 89. The president of this organization is Janice Frager. Co-leaders Liz Strickland and Judy Henberger, it looks like. And we have 15 young ladies in the parade. Sue Hagler from Hagler's Marina donated the boat, the use of the boat, and Troop number 89 made the decorations. And the Brownie Troop, we always like to see the young people involved here in the community of Long Beach Island, and fortunately we have a large number of adults that donate their time for these young girls. The boat is a 20-foot Grady White with a walk-around. It's decorated with neon fish, and the girls are dressed up as scuba divers, fishermen. We have a troll, Santa, surfers. The girls tried to obviously fulfill the theme this year again of Christmas is a sure thing. And I think they've done that very well. And Brownie Troop number 89 is sponsored by the Squires 12 of Long Beach Island. So congratulations to those fellas for doing a fine job. And this is relatively a young Brownie Troop, founded in 1989. and I understand that they may do a little performance for us according to our sheet. Let's see if they do.
Donnie, I think we're blowing away here.
Yeah, the girls are coming out of the back of the stern, not the back, the stern of the boat. And the music's being set up for them. They're going to do a little production for us. Let me try and mention some of the girls' names. We have Trisha Frager, Michelle Henberger, Lori Newberger, Nicole Madorsky, Jennifer DeSaro, Danielle Hagler, Jessica Mears, Jessica Baker, Lauren Kowinski, Jackie Batista, Missy Roblek, Carolyn Henson. And they were last year's trophy winner in their category, so they're trying to live up to their theme.
I think they're trying to keep warm, too.
They may have had a little problems with their music box, but they certainly deserve a nice round of applause for all their efforts.
Coming up right behind the Brownie Troop is a float from one of my favorite places, Kubell's 2, right here in Brighton Beach. The float is pulled by a 1949 antique Ford fire engine owned and operated by Fred Trout. The owners of the Kubell's 2, Ken Egan and Jim Morrison, are on the float, along with Fred and Eileen Trout, Jen Trout, Steve Trout, and Holly Smuts. The dolphins that you see back there are made out of paper mache, and they're all homemade. The dolphins are pulling King Neptune through the Barnegat Bay to deliver Christmas presents to all the children at the shore. King Neptune is none other than Steve Trout himself, and this is the 4th time that he's been in the parade.
Yeah, they've done another nice job on the shore theme of Christmas. Barnegat Lighthouse, King Neptune, and dolphins. I think we're going to see a lot of dolphins. Those dolphins are unusual if the camera's got a picture of their antlers. What car do we have coming up here? This is a Ford Mustang convertible, 1966, maroon with a black top. The owner is Ellie Chesney. They're a member of the Vintage Auto Club of Toms River, New Jersey. It has 51,000 miles only. Well, the next car is throwing out some candy.
The next car throwing candy is a 1963 Pontiac black Pontiac Bonneville, and it's owned by Harold and Karen Doble, and they're with the Ocean County Vintage Auto Club, also in Toms River. This is full power and air conditioning.
Well, we don't need air conditioning today.
I wonder if they're looking to sell it.
We have the Ford Mustang on your screen right now, which is a 1964 and a half, and bronze is the color. The owner is Jackie Doris Biza, and they're also a member of the Vintage and Auto Club of Ocean County, and they're from Rahway. What's that float right in front of us, Gene? They're zooming by.
This little one here is a Girl Scout Daisy Troop number 205, and their co-leaders are Sherry Hughes and Joanne Pauls. I bet they're from right here on Long Beach Island. They made the tree decorations, and the mom wrapped up all the little gifts for them.
The band performing now is the Pinelands Regional High School Band. Nice job by the Pinelands Band from Tuckerton. Coming up into your viewing right now is the Beach Haven Exchange Club, and their float, their president is Fred Duffy, and Frank Giaforte, I think, is also there. Keith Kruger, Dave Wright, Jay Lounsbury, and Tom Sikorsky. What they have on there is the beach chair for the handicap. That's their theme this year. And they're fundraising, and they hope to raise 16 of them for both Stafford Township and the island communities. And this was discovered by the Long Beach Township lifeguards on an education trip to Florida for a convention, and their guards raised enough money to buy this first chair. So congratulations to the Exchange Club for picking up on that idea and really going with it. Good luck to you.
The next float, sponsored by the Rotary of Long Beach Island, is peopled with brownies from troop number 336 and junior troop 365. The leaders are Laura Elko and Jean Popasil. The Santa hats and sunglasses are part of our theme, Christmas is a Sure Thing.
I think you can gather we have a rescue unit or a fire department of some kind coming up by the sirens, and yes, indeed, it's the Barnegat Light Volunteer Fire Company. Jack Albaugh is the president this year. Ed Kamansky is the senior vice president, and Ed Kamansky is also the chief. The costumes were made in-house by members under the supervision of Warren Fox, and it's Rudolph the Blue-Nosed Dolphin up there. Boy, we're going to have a lot of dolphins in this year. And that's cold up there. What we have is that dolphin's pulling the Santa in his wetsuit on a surfboard in the surf. That's a great idea. And we want to mention that this past summer season, we've never, over the last 5 years, had so many dolphins located in our waters as we have this year. That's so good to see that. Gene, oh geez, look at this.
This one, Don, is from TKR Cable Company, and it's Christmas Under the Sea, The Little Mermaid. All the costumes and the whole float was handmade by employees at TKR Cable Company. Peter Berkowitz, the general manager of our local TKR, is there, as well as Sharon Broom as Ariel, Al Mullen as Prince Eric, Kristen Selfridge as Ursula, Edie Campbell as Flounder, and Rich Floor as King Triton. Dave Carvin is driving the float.
They've done a nice job, and they've been in this parade since 1984. Congratulations, and TKR is one of the co-sponsors of this parade.
And they want to say special thanks to Jack Irwin, who was supervising the construction of the float.
What we have now in front of us is Miss College Majorette of New Jersey, of the National Baton Twirling Association. The president of the association is Don Sarkel, and Bridget Demary is about to perform for us. And her costume was made by herself and her family. It's an individual entry, and the car is playing Christmas music, and she's performing behind it. She's been in this parade several times before with the Pinelands Regional High School, and she's performed in the Citrus Bowl. Actually, she will be performing in the Citrus Bowl this year, January 1991, January 1st in Orlando, Florida. And congratulations to Bridget Demary, doing a nice job for us, especially on a cold day where it's sure hard to loosen up those muscles.
Behind Bridget is a float that fudge is a sure thing, and this is sponsored by the Country Kettle Fudge Shop at Bay Village. John Maskell is on the float, as well as John Bell Maskell and his wife Melissa and their family. The costumes on the float were made by Santa's Carpenter Shop.
I'd like to have the camera maybe pan on our baton twirler, who's really quite talented. She's doing a great job operating 3 batons at one time, and the wind makes it very difficult. You can see this catching 3.
And I think
wonderful job.
Our our people handing
crowd
out
is
candy
performing,
canes
yes.
and fudge are great too. Seems like the crowd is enjoying the candy.
And you know, Gene, as I look up and down the boulevard, we do have a very large crowd, especially considering the wind chill
Oh,
today.
that's right. Don, right behind the fudge truck and the candy that everyone's giving out, we have a 1929 Model A Ford owned by Bill Fritz and being driven by Bill Fritz of the Brant Beach Yacht Club. This was salvaged, this car was salvaged from a collapsed shed in Woodstock, New York in 1974.
What's this next one coming up, Gene?
Well, I'm trying to read what it is.
Looks
It
like
is a 1929 Mercedes replica. That must be one of those made from a kit. It's owned by, from Jim,
That's Jim Bouchard.
Jim Bouchard, thank you, Don, from High Bar Harbor Taxpayers Association, a part of Long Beach Township.
Also, right in front of us now, we have Miss Stafford of 1992, Missy Rothstein. Missy's trying to keep warm and waving to the crowd. She's 16 years old, and she's an 11th grade student at Southern Regional High School. And following behind her, we have Miss Columbus Day and the Junior Miss Columbus Day. Miss Columbus Day is Gerald Sheft, and the Junior Miss Columbus Day is Christine Matthews. And their court consists of Rona Block. The three young ladies.
That's Raina Block.
Raina Block? Is
Yes.
that Mayor Block's daughter?
Yeah, that certainly is.
That's not your script, Mr. Meyer. Turn your clipboard around so the wind doesn't pick it up. Gene, what do we have here? Is this the
Donnie, I'd like to tell you, next we have a float that's sponsored by the Harvey Cedars Maritime Festival. And on the float we have Commissioner Judy Gerkens, as well as Roberta Giannone, a resident artist, and John Scott, who's the director of the festival. This will be the third year for the Harvey Cedars Maritime Festival.
Let me just interrupt you. I just have to say that this float is gorgeous. Roberta's a well-renowned local artist, and the detail to the shed on this float and the boat, there was a lot of time spent on this, and I hope the camera zooms in and gets a close-up as this float goes by.
And one of the things about Roberta, she's going to become very famous in the next couple of weeks. She's going to a show in San Francisco, and she will be sponsored by a major gallery in New York City now.
And yeah, it's something to look forward to. The next Maritime Festival, June 26th and 27th, only 6.5 months away.
Only 6.5 months.
Right now we have the High Point Volunteer Fire Company. John Gerkens is the president, and Harry Marty is the chief, and Harry Marty has been involved with that fire department, I think, since the beginning. Don't take it personally, Harry, but he was founded in 1930. And they are very active. They just recently held their 50th anniversary in their dual housing on October 10th of this past fall in 1992. And it's a wonderful organization, and they do a lot of work in the community. And of course, in the summer, they're well known for the Dog Day run that they have in August.
Weather just like we have today, right, Don?
Not quite. Maybe it's windy, but the temperature's a little different. That's a beautiful,
I bet those
Truck.
firemen are cold sitting up there. What do you think, Don?
I don't know, I think they're dressed for the weather. I don't think it's bothering them at all on that ladder truck.
Don, following the High Point Fire Department, we have a homemade float from the Southern Ocean County Hospital, SOCH. The president of the hospital, Steve Littleson, is one of our judges here today.
Actually, I think everything's out of order in this section of the parade, but it's a float by the National Westminster Bank with the Island Pharmacy and the Bayberry Inn. We have John Tugwell as president of the association, and their theme is a Caribbean Christmas. And boy, they did a nice job on this float.
Oh, Don,
Everybody's
look,
dressed up with their
there's
rascals.
a waterfall down the side of the
There's
float.
actually,
Look at
I hope the camera sees that. It's real water, and it's amazing it hasn't frozen today, but the people on the east side of the boulevard are going to get a little wet, I think, with the spray coming off that waterfall, but that's very well done. A lot of creativity this year in the parade. Matter of fact, more than I've seen in prior parades. Everybody's gone out and paid a lot of attention to detail on their floats. This is really a well done parade this year as far as the individual entries and the commercial and individual homemade floats, Gene.
Okay, and now, Don, I get a chance to talk about that float from the Southern Ocean County Hospital. On the float is Ed Torriello, who's the chairman of the SOCH board, as well as George Macris, the vice chairman for public relations. The costumes in the float were made at the hospital, and the theme is Christmas. The SOCH expansion fundraising project is now in progress, and everyone here wishes the SOCH fundraisers a lot of success in their fundraising, building for a healthy future.
Well, I want to mention, too, that one of our judges, Steve Wilson, is president of the hospital, and he's very involved with this fundraising. And I know Steve was concerned about whether or not he'd be eligible to vote for this float, so I imagine he'll abstain and the other judges will pick up for him. But we just can't say enough good things about the hospital and what they do here in our community, and the fact that so many people are involved. I see Tony out there in the truck, and he's involved with Steve Wilson. He's one of their key fundraisers. And congratulations again, and good luck in the upcoming year for Southern Ocean County Hospital. And the next float behind it is another wonderful community group that has certainly helped the awareness and educated all of us in how important it is to be involved in the community and be concerned about the environment. And that's the Alliance for Living Ocean. We have Karen Kiss in the beginning. She's the founding president of the club. And this year's president is Joan Coons, who also happens to be one of our judges, so I know she's going to have to abstain. But again, their float is picking up on the theme, Christmas is a sure thing. And this organization would like to thank Surf Unlimited. I see its owner, John Gross, on the float.
Right on the float.
He's
there.
waving. The ship's carpenter, another local business, Seddon Construction, the Cedar Garden, and Don Craffey. All these materials were donated for this float from the groups I just mentioned, and it's certainly nice to see everyone in the community supporting ALLO. And ALLO would like to wish everyone a happy holiday, and thanks to everyone in the community for the support.
Don, right behind the ALLO float is the Ragin' Piano Boogie, and that's Kenny Keene of Philadelphia.
And Kenny comes every year, and he has a good time, and I don't know how he does it. I say it year after year, how he keeps his fingers so nimble when it's all I can do to hold this mic.
Right, plus Kenny's going to be over at our Christmas Bazaar right after the parade.
Let's listen to him for a moment, please. Right in front of us now, we have the free and accepted Mason, Sexton Lodge number 286. The master is Ken Polismasano. James Jeffries, the senior warden, and Jim Hartman is the junior warden. It's good to see those fellows out. They're very involved in the community behind the scenes. They meet in the Beach Haven Firehouse and have since 1949.
Right behind them is the Beach Haven Volunteer Fire Company, Kyle Englund, president. And I think the important thing to say right here is that 1993 is going to be the 110th anniversary celebrating for the Beach Haven Fire Department. They're going to have a big celebration October the 2nd, 1993 with a parade and a housing.
That's Bill G driving a truck. He's always involved in the community.
Also there is Kevin Kohler, Keith Oler, Kyle Englund, and Dean Cleland, the deputy chief.
We have a momentary lull here. I believe what's occurring is the next group, the Junior Girl Scout Troop 399, is being interviewed by the local newspaper reporters, and they wanted to stop and make sure they have the names correct to be published. But let me talk about this organization. That's Junior Girl Scout Troop 399. We have leaders Beverly Thames and Penny Fisher. The girls are in 4th grade, and they designed and made the entire float on their own. In the description of this float, as it comes into view, you'll see it's called Santa's Beach. 1987 was when this local Junior Girl Scout troop was founded. And congratulations again to these wonderful organizations, especially the ones working with our young people. In Santa's Beach, all the young ladies are dressed up, it appears to be, as a reindeer. And they're pulling Santa's sleigh. And I don't know if we have the correct number of reindeer. I see 6, 7. How many reindeer do you see, Jean?
I'm too cold to count, Don.
Yeah, there's 7 reindeer.
But I don't see Rudolph.
No, Rudolph's not.
They'll be
They
at the
perform
Christmas
benefits.
Bazaar this afternoon, Don.
Well, that's wonderful. I didn't know that, Jean.
Yes, they will.
They perform at hospitals, nursing homes, benefits, the Steel Pier. They perform for the American Cancer Society, so congratulations to that group.
Donnie, on our screen right now, we see the float from Ocean National Bank, one of the sponsors of this parade. And I think that the bank is giving out candy canes. The float is called the Candy Cane Express. I didn't know that the banks gave out free samples, did you?
No, I certainly did not, but Ocean National Bank. And there's Nance Romance waving to us. One of the wonderful ladies that works in the Ship Bottom branch. I see Susan up there. That looks like Amy up there. They do a great job, and they're also co-sponsors for this parade. A wonderful job in the community by Ocean National Bank. And here we go, coming up next.
A lot of little crabs. Look at this.
I know that we're going to have a little performance by this group, as we do every year. Who's this group? The Terrace Tavern. President of the organization and the owner, Steve Eisenberg. Gail Cawley's the manager. They do an elaborate job.
Joan Toole is the choreographer for this group, and they've been practicing now for well over a month.
Let's let the camera show us, and we'll be quiet for a moment. This is wonderful, Gene. We have all the ladies dressed up as crabs, and the men are dressed up as various types of fish, bluefish,
They're feeling a little crabby
weak
today,
fish.
Donald.
Oh, I don't think they're crabby. They're having a great time.
Don, you know that this is their third year in the parade. The first year they won 1 first prize, and the second year they won 2 first prizes. Do you think they're going for 3 this year?
I think that's possible. We may have to set up a new category. They're so unique, and they do such a great job, and obviously a lot of work.
This looks like the electric slide. What do you think?
I think it's the undersea version of the electric slide.
The electric eel slide. From the higher camera so we can look down. That's it. That's great. There is some intricate choreography here, and as so many people gather around, it's hard to see unless you're standing up high above the crowd. For today's weather, because everybody can be kept warm in their hoods and claws. Nice round of applause for this group. A lot of work went into this. It's a great production. Thanks to Tim Cleary and Baldrick Bulkheading for their contributions. Terrace Tavern, keep up the good work with your fundraising. And I know we'll look forward to seeing you again next year. Next on, we have a float from Hanold's Restaurant over on Bay Avenue in Manahawkin. And on the float, we have the Junior Miss Columbus Day, 1992. That's Geraldine Shaft. And the Junior Miss Columbus, Justine Matthews. Bud Owen designed and built the float with design help from Louise Hanold. All costumes are made by the parents. The float represents a giant Jack-in-the-Box with a live person in it on Christmas morning, kids opening their gifts. Louise Hanold invites everybody to visit Founders Day in Stafford Township, June. What number you have? They grabbed it like 55. All right, I got some. Now we see, Don, coming up is the Surf City Volunteer Fire Company. Russ Harris is the president of the organization, and the chief is Ron Freitag. The assistant chief is Dennis Mocher. The vehicles consist of a pumper, 2 ambulances, 1 rescue truck, and the emergency medical services. They've been in the parade for years now.
All right, Gene, hang in there. We're doing fine. I tell you one thing, if you're not out
My
here, you
nose
don't
is
know
getting
how
cold.
cold it is today.
Whoa. I think we're all going to be visiting Steve Littleson's emergency department at the hospital today.
It's always nice to see the local volunteer fire companies and first aid squads out. It's nice to see them recognized because they do so much in the community. And the individuals volunteer so much time, and any more, the requirements and hours of training that are needed are just immense. So hats off to all the volunteers of our local squads. You do a wonderful job in the community, and you're very much appreciated by all of us. Thank you. Coming into view is another float, and I watched them develop this float, and there's a lot of work done on this float, and the theme again is Christmas is a sure thing. Andy Messler of Ron John Surf Shop and Dougie Burkheiser, Speakeasy Pizza, collaborated to put this float together. And we want to mention Kayla and Melissa, who are the daughters of Suzanne Burkheiser, who are twins. And it looks, yes, they're on the float. And what we have here is 8 dolphins pulling the shark. And you know, it's interesting because I guess these dolphins are probably named Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen. And it looks like the dolphin with the red nose would have to be Rudolph the Dolphin. And they're doing a wonderful job. Treasures Under the Sea. It's a self-powered float. I know there's a little car underneath. And that's a wonderful float by Doug Burkheiser of Speakeasy and Ron John's, located on the causeway. Is there a name for that shark, Gene? Would that be called the Santa Jaws shark I missed? AKA the surf. I guess that's AKA also known as the Surf Cruiser from Ron John. And it's Rudy the red-nosed dolphin leading the way.
And
Wonderful idea and well done.
following close behind the shark is the Coast Guard from Beach Haven, and they must be out to get that shark. They have one of their new inflatable boats, new in 1992. And I think with us today we have Chief Warrant Officer League, Petty Officer Cooper, and Seaman Parisha, and Seaman Stang. This is a 21-foot inflatable boat, and they're for search and rescue and law enforcement, and I think for catching that shark from Ron John's.
Sounds good to me. And coming up next, we have a commercial float. President's Association is Parker Renault. He's with the Commerce Bank, and it's a Commerce Bank float. And their theme is a Victorian Christmas at the shore. And this local branch of the Commerce Bank was founded in 1989, and it looks awful chilly up there. And I see Kathy Dillon, the branch manager, waving. And I hope there's a lot of layers on that Victorian wear, because you need that on a day like today. Oh, we've got another little group coming up, Gene.
Oh,
Music.
Donnie, this is the Ragtimers, directed by Fred Lahode.
Hey, let's go! Hail, 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 the gang's all here. The Alabama Jubilee.
Well, that music makes you move. And you need to move on a day like today, Gene. Here again, we have Mayor Nissen waving to us on the Ship Bottom antique truck. He's waving hard and vigorously, I guess partly to keep warm, but again, can't say enough about the job he does in helping the Ship Bottom Merchants Association and TKR Cable and Ocean National Bank and the Times-Beacon newspapers to put this parade on. And before we get to the end of the parade, we have to give a special thank you to Sharon Pastors of Ocean National Bank for coordinating and putting all this together. And there's so many committee members that do a fine job and donate their time. Sue at TKR, John Hay,
Renee Kennedy.
Renee
from Jersey
Kennedy.
Shore Currents.
So there's quite a few people involved, and if we left your name out, we apologize. It wasn't intentional.
Don, look who's coming.
Oh, this is the best part of the parade.
This is jolly old St. Nicholas. Santa Claus, welcome, and Santa Claus is accompanied on this Southern Ocean County Chamber of Commerce float. Well, who do I see on there? I think that's Fern Schoderer from Fantasy Island. Fern is there with Frank Panzone's daughters. And, well, it looks like Marissa DePaula, my daughter, and Michelle Cuff, Princess Michelle from Hawaii, and who else do we see with Santa? I think that looks like Jeff Connor's son. Jeff Connor is the president of the Chamber of Commerce this year, and on behalf of all the members of the Chamber, we want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and we also want to encourage everyone to shop locally and support your local merchants on Long Beach Island.
Santa's giving a thumbs up and waving everyone. So I hope we have a happy and safe holiday for everyone. And we certainly look forward to next year, which will be
Warmer.
the 15th year for the Christmas parade. And we hope to see you here. And the crowds have thinned out as soon as Santa's gone by. Obviously, this weather is not conducive to sitting on the curb. Well, Gene, what we'd like to do, I guess, is sign off. And I want to thank you again for offering to co-host, especially in weather like this. But I think it's wonderful that you did this and always involved in the community that you are. We expected no less. And I certainly, again, would like to thank everyone involved. And, Gene, I think if things work out, we'll be back here next year.
And then maybe we ought to have it in July when it's a little bit warmer. What do you think, Don?
Well, we could have a Christmas in July. We could have a Christmas parade this time of the year also. That might be good. We certainly would have the people down here in the summer, and they would probably enjoy it and make a festive occasion out of it.
Donnie, it was a pleasure to work with you today, and I want to wish everyone who's watching this tape a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And I'll second that. Again, thank you, everyone, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, safe holidays, and may the sun always shine on your parade. Bye now.
Bye-bye.